At the entrance is the plaque of the people that were on the watch here at the RCSD when the building was dedicated in 2004. Kathleen Spoor and Greg Wood are the only two left. Sherry Delano was general manager at that time in the Treasury. During her reign had a cushion of about $11 million. That's been eroded for a variety of reasons. Yeah, well, Joe, the other night you guys handed certain directors at the RCSD with a notice of intent to file a recall. So since you're fresh on all of the steps, could you please explain those to the Rosamond News so when people call in we can say, well, this is how it goes?
Well, the procedure is obviously once you have your petitions and your proof of service and your notice of intent.
All right, now you had to service all the four directors.
Right, there's a notice of intent. Anytime that you want to recall anybody in any kind of an office, political or otherwise, or with these municipal districts, you have to file a formal notice of intent.
Okay.
Not only do you file it there, you have to have proponents. You have to have, in this particular case, you need 10. In some cases, there may be more required.
Okay.
In this particular case, 10 is always required proponents. You go ahead with your notice of intent to recall, and you'll give them the grounds, and you'll address it or direct it to
Sure, tell them why you're doing it. Yeah.
Give them the grounds for it.
Right.
And then we sit there. I do have the original signatures of the printed names and signatures and everything.
Of the people that signed it, yeah.
For the purposes of handing each director the notice of intent, all we're doing is we give it in a typed version without signatures.
Sure.
It's necessary legally.
Sure, sure.
So we go ahead and hand that to each of the directors that there's an intent to recall on.
Right.
The person that actually served has got to sign a declaration of proof of personal service.
Oh, okay.
He has signed this, and I think in this case, Bob, I believe that was the one that served him.
Bob Vincelet.
Right, Vincelet, and he turned around there and he signed a proof of personal service.
Okay.
Which I actually have now. I happen to be out of town, so I couldn't do anything about it.
Sure, sure.
At this point, once these directors are served, they've got 7 days in which to respond.
All right.
They can send their response to any of the 10 people
listed.
that are listed as proponents of the recall.
Okay.
And it has to be done in person or certified mail.
Sure.
And
sure.
then, of course, the registrar of voters is going to get a copy of this too.
Okay.
Once we get that response, or if we don't get a response, they're not necessarily, they don't have to respond if they don't want to. They can actually not do it. And if that's the case, at the end of the 7 days, the only thing I'm going to do is just put no response received.
Sure.
And then we take it up to the county
registrar
of voters.
Okay.
What they're going to do then is I bring up copies of the blank certificate or blank recall petitions, copies of the original notice of intent to recall, proof of personal service, and a receipt from a newspaper stating that we published this.
Okay, how many weeks do you have to publish it? Do you know? Is it 1 week or?
I believe it's just a single publication. Is all that's necessary.
Okay.
Because that's it. It just says your circulation and filing.
Yes.
And the receipt. Let's see. There's not any particular time at this point. It just means it's proof of
proof of. You need an affidavit from the newspaper that it really did get published.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as long as you get an affidavit from you, that's fine.
Yes.
All
right.
See if I've got. Let me double
I can check that with the registrar.
Yeah, I don't believe it's just a single one at this point.
Yeah.
So as long as I get that, once I get that, and like I say, I'll take all of this up to the registrar. She's going to go ahead and review every single bit. Verbiage. Okay. I mean, line item by line item.
True.
And she's also going to check that the proponents are registered voters in this area. That's one thing they do. You can't just have somebody out here sign it. If they're not a registered voter, and then they're not going to be able to do it. We actually have, at this point, we have 6,900 that are registered voters in this district.
Okay. So you need 25% of the 6,900 registered voters in this area
to
submit the recall document.
Right, and then at that point, if we get 25%, it'll be verified again by the registrar. She's going to verify every single one to make sure that they are registered voters in the district.
Right.
And then at that point, then if she certifies it as such, then at that point, then we set an election date.
Okay.
They have a certain amount of time to set an election date. If they don't, then the register of voters goes ahead and sets that date automatically. So it's up to.
Right. Now there's a charge for setting that election.
Yeah, there's going to be a charge, and it's going to RCSD.
Ah, okay. I see. Okay, the RCSD is on the hook for the election.
Right.
All right. So, the wheels are in motion.
At this point, as I said, we're waiting for the response, and then once we get the response, everything, the final forms will be filled out with that response.
Okay.
And then they'll be taken up there, and at this point, we just wait for the registrar.
So, in terms of time, do you think that's going to be before the end of the year, or is it going to be the first quarter of next year?
No,
or?
it should be rather soon.
Okay.
We have 90 days
okay.
to get the 25% of the signatures.
I see.
Once the registrar of voters tells us everything is in order.
Yes, okay.
Once she says it's in order, and once we have that
all right.
authorization to go ahead, then we have 90 days to collect the 25%
to get it done.
signatures.
Okay.
And that's just pretty much it. If we can't get it done, then that's our problem.
Right.
Although I don't think that's going to be an issue right now.
So you feel the mood of the RCSD water users at the present time is pretty much in line with what the recall people.
Yeah, we feel it is. I mean, a lot of people are quite dissatisfied. I mean, as you can tell by the lighting issue that came up.
The public meetings that were held.
Tremendous amount of
people were mad.
Participation in that, absolutely. And they're also saying that they're not very happy about the way the rates have just been exponentially increased.
Sure.
And the service has gotten lousy.
Right.
Another real problem everybody has is a lot of people here at lunchtime want to go in there and pay their bill.
Uh-huh. Closed at lunch.
They're closed. I mean,
yeah.
that's just absolutely ridiculous. Plus the fact that they're only open 4 days a week.
Right.
Right. That can be changed. You can stagger those hours. You can make sure somebody's there at lunchtime. Because part of the problem is you can set it in an envelope out there.
Yeah.
Your payment. There's no guarantee somebody's going to get it, and they'll turn right around and hit you with a late fee if they don't happen to empty that box out.
True.
There's just a lot of different little issues. We don't think customer service is very good at all.
All right. Well, the final question is: yes, okay, sweep clean, throw the bums out, but now we have to replace those people with good people, or better people, or smarter people, or some kind of people.
But by the time the petition is submitted, the final petition with the 25%.
Yeah.
At that time, we're going to have
some candidates. Yeah.
That's right, and we'll have those candidates at that time.
Okay.
And at that point, they will, be identified as to who it's going to be.
Yes, who would like to serve in that capacity.
Now, one thing about it, each individual that's being recalled cannot also.
No, they're out. Once they're out, they're out.
Well, they can go back. They can get voted in another time if somebody's foolish enough to do it. But for the purposes of this, you don't have to worry about them just jumping right back on the bandwagon and putting their names on the ballot.
Sure. Well, we were talking earlier before about business people, like Harold Redsky, one of the founders, who was on the board, and a series of business people have been on the board in the past. Is that what your group is looking for? Some hard-headed small business people?
We would much rather have people that have owned businesses and understand,
the dollar.
Great cost effective. That's absolutely true. There's a real problem right now that I think this seems to be. Well, if we don't have enough money, we'll just increase rates. They don't look at the top and say, "Hey, we need to start cutting out on some of our operational expenses."
Sure.
And they can't tell me they can't do it because we've already reviewed some of that and seen. There's areas that things can be dropped off.
Okay.
And it can be operated in a much more cost-effective manner.
Sure.
So there's a lot of different avenues that we can take to adjust that.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for your time and your explanation. You obviously have done the research with the county recorder and got the steps, reviewed all the steps for us. So we appreciate for the community, and best of luck with your effort.
Hopefully we're successful.
Mr. MacKay, you've served on the RCSD Board of Directors before when they had a positive balance. Not so much debt. And I see a recall effort the other evening presented, and your name is on it. And I'm wondering what your motivations are. Why are you doing that?
Well, I would like to get back to have the board serve the people of the community rather than themselves.
Okay. And specifically, are there some policies lately that you don't agree with?
I don't agree with them continuing to raise the rates of the water. I'm with 3 other water boards that I have businesses in, and one I pay $29.62 and another one I pay $39 a year for, and my water bill is running in the hundreds of dollars, and so it's time to put a cap on it.
Okay. Now, you run your own business.
Yes, sir.
And have a reputation for watching the dollar. All the survivors of small business have had 5 years to watch the dollar. Do you think the board would be better if it had more small business people sitting in the director's chairs?
You know, it would help, but I don't know that that's the answer to the problem. I think we just need some people on there that are oriented to the people that they serve.
Okay. The waste water treatment plant, did you vote on that?
John and I voted on that a long time ago. I tried to get the district, when I was on the board, to start that program at a $10 million cost, and we never did anything because I could never get other directors to go along with it, and eventually they passed it, and it cost $40 million to bring them online. Probably even more than that today.
Okay, and customers for that water?
The customers, like right now, they should be selling tertiary water to the solar plants rather than drinking water. That's costing us a lot of money and wasting a lot of good drinking water to just put it on the ground to control dust.
Okay, that'd be one immediate use for it. And how about the water bank out there on 155th and Avenue A, or Ashley Gaskell? Did you have any vote in that?
No, I did not.
I see.
That was after my time.
Well, best of luck then on the recall and your plans after that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Mr. Patel, you were here at tonight's special meeting and the regular meeting of the RCSD when 2 petitions were presented. For those that weren't there, what actually happened?
Well, a couple of gentlemen came, and I mean, they were sitting in the audience, and I think one of the gentlemen petitioned about roll the rates back. Fixed rate, $25 for the water and $25 for the sewer. And the second petition was to recall a board member.
Okay, one board member or all of them, or?
There is 4 board member was present, and they served 3 of them.
Oh, who didn't get the recall?
Board director Alfred Wallace didn't get the recall.
Okay, all right. He's just relatively new. He was just elected.
He just been elected.
So all the problems he's really not responsible for because they came in before he came in.
That's what the people think, yes.
So do you think the petition will be successful? Just since you're a businessman here in town, do you feel a recall is going to be successful with the residents in Rosamond?
You know, I don't know much how much intensity is, but the way they present it might be very successful.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.